Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Adam from Danville Music.
And I'm Dave Chris.
And we're going to talk about hidden gems. That's good. It's good. It's good.
Grammy winning.
I think so.
I think so.
It's a contender.
I would say so.
Yes.
We're in agreement, folks.
All right.
And we're in agreement about a lot of things, especially cool things in this here room. The champagne room.
It's actually pronounced champagne.
Ah, yes. Parmesan cheese. Yes.
Yeah, well, we're obviously fans of musical instruments, and we wanted to talk about some of the brands we have here that are kind of hidden gems. Some people are very, very well versed in some of the boutique style guitars, and some people have yet to be introduced to them. So we wanted to talk about just 3 brands in particular that we really love.
Oh, yes.
John Suhr with Suhr Guitars.
Suhr Guitars, Duesenberg, and Tom Anderson Guitars.
That's right.
3 of our favorites and 3 things that you can find here at Danville Music.
Yeah. So let's start with Suhr Guitars.
Yeah.
So John Suhr started building guitars out on the East Coast. He made guitars at Rudy's, the famous shop in New York. And he did guitars under the name Penza Suhr, and he built stuff for like Eric Clapton, Peter Frampton. He built guitars for Red Beach, like a lot of really high-profile artists.
Yeah.
And they started out as kind of super strats and just kind of went on from there. So they've got stainless steel frets. They make their own pickups. And after a while, like in the 90s, John Suhr moved out to California. And now Suhr's built out of Lake Elsinore.
Yeah, and they just make beautiful instruments. They play great, they're easy to set up, and the fit and finish is fantastic. And you get so many options with them. And I think that's becoming par for the course with these higher end boutique manufacturers in musical instruments, which is a good thing.
Right. I mean, what allows them to be smaller allows them to be greater.
Yeah.
So they don't take on big productions like some of the other brands, which means they can spend a lot of time on the attention to detail, make sure things are done correctly. They won't hire Joe Schmo off the street. They got very, very talented luthiers and craftspeople working on their guitars.
Oh, yeah. And another thing that's nice about them is that they're fun to work with. And
Absolutely.
I think that goes for all the manufacturers that we're talking today. And one of the reasons that we like them, but they also deliver. I mean, take a look at some of these instruments that we've had in the store. And Adam, you have a Suhr, don't you?
Yeah. I spec'd one out. I have a Telecaster. I did something kind of crazy where I put 3 pickups in a Telecaster, and I put put a humbucker in the neck, humbucker in the middle, and I put a classic Tele bridge pickup, and put a 5-way in there so I can kind of do the Strat split coil thing. So it makes it a really versatile guitar. And that's another cool thing about Suhr Guitars is that you can customize it, place your order for it, and get something you've always wanted.
Yeah. And aside from the 3 pickup thing, which is really strange, it looks like a classic Tele.
Yeah.
You can do crazy finishes with these guys, but even just their straight ahead models.
Right.
Very good.
If you want a crazy flame top, you can do that. If you want to keep something simple and not check me out sort of stuff, you can totally do that too. And I love that.
Heck yeah.
And so great company for building your own guitar and just fantastic sound. They also do great amplifiers as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to Duesenberg.
We're just talking about classic styles of instruments that give you these options. Duesenberg is just out of left field. I mean, they're doing something completely on their own. It's like a 1930s Art Deco theater. It's so cool. It's just got so much mojo and such a cool vibe and just a groovy look.
Man, I was touring with a guitar player from Deer Hunter. And this guy Connor had this Outlaw Star Player TV. So it's got that kind of scaly finish. And it just piqued my interest. I'm like, what is this thing? And he plugged it in. I'm like, wow, it sounds amazing. And they do, their flagship is their Star Player TV. And the Star Player TV is great because it looks like a Les Paul body, but it's semi-hollow. And they do the tremolo bridge. And it looks like a Bigsby.
But it isn't a Bigsby.
It's not a Bigsby. It is way more fine-tuned. You actually can use this thing and it just stays in tune great. All their parts are proprietary. They do great pickups as well. That's all in-house. And the one thing they do with their pickups that I love is they put the P90 in the neck position. So for those of you who are not familiar with P90s, they're usually a little brighter than humbuckers, and I've always felt like Les Paul style guitars can sometimes get a little bit too dark in the neck position. I mean, it's great for jazz, but if you want to do rock pop music, I want to have some bite to it and not have to, change my amp settings when I'm switching pickups. And so for rock, Americana, it's a great guitar.
Well, and you can find single coils or humbuckers on just about anything. The P90 is just a different animal. If you've got a Strat and a Les Paul, sure, you can have many iterations of these things, but considering different pickup options is also really important because it'll give you different tones. And sort of the way I've wrapped my head around a P90 is like an overwound single coil. So it's just punchier. It's got a different vibe to it, and I like them.
Yeah.
I've got a Junior that has just a single P90 at the bridge, and it's bright, it's annoying, and I like that.
Yeah, and for all you young guitar players out there, just a quick tip. If you're playing in a band and there are two guitar players, you really want to make sure that you keep different tones on either side of the stage.
Yeah.
Blending becomes a big part of being in a band. And what I love about Duesenberg is you can play with somebody with a Les Paul style guitar or a Fender style guitar, and you won't be competing for anything. It'll play well with others.
Yeah, it's like mixing yourself in the band.
Exactly.
If the band sounds good on its own, it makes the sound guy's job easier. That means you'll sound better. So
yeah, everybody's happy.
Yeah, everybody's happy.
Right, I think we had one more we're going to talk about.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Tom Anderson guitars, and Tom is kind of the pioneer of custom guitars here in the States. And he established so many innovations, from using CNCs to the way that he does his finishes and the UV curing and all of these things. And they're right there in Southern California, and they're a blast to work with. They make a very low volume of instruments every year, and that also means that, like with John Suhr Guitars, their attention to detail is spot on, and their options are endless, and they have a myriad of different guitar styles, and you could do something very, very classic, you could do something really out of this world. And maybe one of my favorite things is going on their website and building an instrument. And we have the privilege here at Danville Music to, each of us that works here, we've built several instruments for them, and usually they get kicked down the line for our customers because we want to take care of them first. But man, some of the guitars that we've gotten in are just an absolute blast, and working with them is super fun.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And it's always something a little bit different, a little bit left of center. What I like about Tom Anderson is not only do they do Fender style guitars, but they also dip their toes in the Gibson style guitars too.
Oh yeah,
like Les Paul Jr. styles, and with different modifications you can do on hardware or pickups. So it makes it just a very, very not only a pleasure to deal with as a company, but it's a pleasure to see what sort of new things going to come in, because it's never two are alike. Right?
Oh, absolutely. And the wood choices, being able to interface with them directly about, I want this kind of maple top, but I want the quilt to be, a really tight or a really wide quilt, and I want to do this sort of finish, but I want to put my own spin on it. Man, they will entertain all of that, and they'll share with you their thoughts and their ideas about what you're building. Hey, this will work really well, or consider this because of the choices you're making. But at the end of the day, you're getting a guitar with, pickups made by Tom Anderson, with really good hardware, with stainless steel frets that just feel silky smooth, with wonderful neck options. I tend to like more vintagey necks, like the 60s V necks. I don't know why, with these dainty little hands that I have, it just works for me. And that's an important thing to pay attention to, is what works with your body. What are your ergonomics? And people like Tom Anderson can cater to that.
He will work with your dainty hands?
With my dainty hands.
Man, you heard it here first. And to wrap this up with all these 3 brands, I want to say that whenever we unbox these, we don't unbox something and go, wow, this is a mess. It's not set up. That takes time out of our day, takes out of our beer drinking time.
Oh, yeah.
And that is an important thing not to take time away from.
Oh.
So, if you choose these guitars, you got more time to do whatever it is that you like to do.
Absolutely. And if you do want to check them out, come on down to Danville Music. We'd be happy to show you what we have. You're welcome to play whatever's in our store and find something that really suits you, that you can't put down, because that's our goal. I want you to go home with an instrument that you want to play.
Exactly.
Yeah. So don't forget that, folks. Play music every day. It makes you better.
That's right.
Yes.
All right, well, thank you for watching.
It's been a pleasure, guys. Have some fun.
Cheers. Shop the finest selection of musical instruments at danvillemusic.com.